we're going to look at possibly the most important area when we're thinking about managing anger helping our children manage anger, which is your emotional state as a parent. Okay, so this, I would argue, is one of the hardest things to do as a parent, because when we get triggered by our child's anger, or we become stressed or worn down by it, it feels like it's about us. It feels quite personal sometimes. And we want to just react. And it's very hard for it not to feel like it's about us. And it's really hard to be able to just stand back and be that neutral person that you could perhaps, if it wasn't your child, if it was a stranger looking on. And yet that's what we need to do. When we're feeling really frustrated, worn down, angry ourselves because we've been triggered, what we really need to show to the child is empathy and kind of neutrality. It's really hard. I've said this several times, and just for emphasis, and it takes work. It takes practice. But the biggest key, in my opinion, and I'd be interested to hear your opinion, Hannah, is genuine self-care. Because if we're on the edge, if our stress cups are almost full, it only takes one little whinge or little outburst from our child for us to completely get triggered and lose control and not be able to be that empathetic, quite neutral person with that response that's going to be the most helpful for the child, taking their needs into account. So we need to make sure that our cups are only half full or only a quarter full rather than 7/8 full. And so the most important thing you can do is to preempt and to ring fence time for yourself when you can rest and recharge and empty that cup, or do something that help prevent it fill up in the first place. Especially if you are feeling quite stressed at the moment, if you feel quite overloaded, overwhelmed, this is the opportunity to draw a line and say, oh, okay, I need one evening a week where perhaps I get a babysitter and I meet up with a friend, or I do a hobby, I join a choir, or whatever it is. It might be things in the home that you do. I start writing that book I always wanted to write, but it's vital. You can't help your child unless you are in a regulated state. And if you're stressed and overwhelmed and you're just doing more and more of the same, it's going to be doing your child a disservice. Anything to add on that, Hannah?
No, I just think that's a really important point, that often we get so caught up in the busyness of life, and our natural kind of priority is to kind of focus on the kids. But if we are able to see the value in all of this, of figuring out what we need in that moment as a way to then be able to best support our children and stay regulated and give them what they need, that idea of really giving ourselves permission to just take stock of what's going on for us. And if we need to take 5 minutes out, just get out of the house, particularly when often people are stuck indoors, stuck on screens a lot of the time. Just those movement, get out, have a change of atmosphere, environment, even that can be just enough to just take stock of what's going on. I'm just going to give myself a break and get back into the green, because I think sometimes we can be on autopilot and not notice what state we're in. So just keeping those state models in mind for yourself, really, and figuring out what could I put in the green, even if it's just as small as getting up and walking out of the office.
Yeah, absolutely. So do something different and experiment maybe with a few things, just getting out of that groove.